People say experience speaks louder than words, and today we have with us a very prominent and experienced personage, Sir Akok, retired principal, to deliver the message. So, sir, you may kindly take your time.
Respected Chairperson, President and his colleagues of our student conference, the program organizers, and the custodian of today's celebration here in Mokokchung town, dignitaries, representatives from different organizations and civil societies, and viewers joining us live stream today in this program. At the outset, I would like to greet my teachers with this Teachers' Day greetings. Had it not been you, my teachers, if anyone is viewing live today, I wouldn't have been here. Had you not shaped me, chiseled me into what I am today, many a time, situations and hurdles would have stolen my smiles in life. I really salute my teachers for what you have been to me. What a great day it is for teachers this day, that the entire citizenry of this country goes to salute you, extend their love to you, show their respect and reverence to you. Thanks to late Dr. Radhakrishnan, who, as one of the greatest teachers in the country, have donated his birthday to the honor of teachers. Decades ago, I'm told it was in the year 1965, when personalities in the country, including many of his past students, proposed that this day be celebrated in honor of him. He humbly responded, I quote, "Instead of celebrating my birthday, it would be my proud privilege if 5th September is observed as Teachers' Day." As a brilliant student, Radhakrishnan always excelled himself. As a learned teacher, his scholarship was always respected by the intellectuals. And as a philosopher, thinkers around the world respected him, admired him, and honored him. And as a diplomat, his country held her head high as this great personality went on performing ambassadorial services representing his country in different countries and in different forums at the international level. Welcoming his appointment as the second president of India, the world-renowned polymath, the British philosopher Bertrand Russell, wrote, I quote, "It is an honor to philosophy that Dr. Radhakrishnan should be President of India, and I, as a philosopher, take special pleasure in this. Plato aspired for philosophers to become kings, and it is a tribute to India that she should make a philosopher her president, unquote. Dr. Radhakrishnan becoming the president of India was the very translation into reality of what he had earlier said. I quote, "Teachers should be the best minds in the country." Best minds. This makes me to put a word to my teacher friends. As teachers, we perform one thing in the classroom. Stepping out of the classroom, we conduct our lifestyles in an informal way, yet still we make other people learn from the life we live outside of the classroom. The mind of Dr. Radhakrishnan as a teacher became absolutely indispensable for his country, that he was made the second president of his country. Are the minds of teachers needed, utilized, included, counted by the country today, by your own community, by the society? The epitome, the archetype of teacher, Dr. Radhakrishnan, proved his mettle to the extent that he became, from classroom to the nation's greatest office holder. Till the close of the last century, in which most of us were born and grew up, teachers were metaphorically described as walking encyclopedia. Our elders, our leaders used to tell us, teachers are the walking encyclopedia. In today's term, you are the walking data bank. This calls for the fact that we need to garner a whole gamut of knowledge so that we become available for the society at any time, not only in the classroom. John F. Kennedy, the President of United States of America, in the year 1961, made a very crucial statement. The statement of which propels America into becoming the first nation to successfully launch manned spaceship to safely land on moon on 19th of April 1969. In the Congress, he said, I quote, "Our progress as a nation can be no swifter than the progress in education. The human mind is our fundamental resource." Two words stand very forcefully here. Progress of our nation is the progress in education. He didn't talk about expansion of the boundary, nor did he talk about the strengthening of the defense department, nor employment opportunities, nor economy. He said the progress of our country can be no swifter than our progress in education. And the next one, the human mind. Human mind is our fundamental resource. My dear teachers, if education is the backbone of a nation, then aren't we teachers the architect and the designer of that backbone of a nation? Nelson Mandela, the Nobel laureate, said, I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world," unquote. Then is it not we, the teachers, the custodian of this weapon that brings about changes? Aren't we the sentries to pull the trigger of this weapon that brings about changes in the country? What a responsibility we shoulder. What a position we occupy. A story is told of an hardly average teacher. Of course, I'm not trying to paint all the teachers in general with demeaning color, but I just want to evoke some thoughts through this story. This teacher received a gift from some of his students. It was a notebook. On the cover of it was printed a quotation. The half of the quotation has been already mentioned by our Deputy Commissioner a minute ago. The printed quotation of on the notebook read like this. The best teachers teach from the heart, not from the book. This teacher, he looked at the book on, and next morning he applied for a 1 month leave from the school. Then what he did, he started memorizing all the chapters in the textbook he was assigned to teach from. Following month, he resumed his duty, entered the classroom, and started reciting what he memorized, bit by bit, day by day. That year, all the students in his subject uniformly and systematically failed. The problem was, this teacher, being hardly average, a teacher, he got confused the meaning of from heart with the meaning of by heart. Only one difference between two words. The quotation read, the best teachers teach from heart, but he misunderstood it as by heart. The difference between two prepositions. My dear teacher friends, a little misuse or abuse in our position, a slight negligence or carelessness in our responsibility will make one generation take a wrong direction, which, when it gets mature, it will take several generations to correct it. Of course, We are not superhuman. We are not angels yet. So we are liable to make mistakes. We have our own shortcomings. But what I'm talking about here is that avoidable mistakes, avoidable errors, intentional laziness brings about a huge devastation in the society. But one dedicated step we take, another industrious time we invest in the building of a citizen, will bring about a huge change, because we are the custodian of the weapons that brings about change in the society. Yes, many a time the result of our labor will be slow, because it takes generally 15 years for a child to become mature and become a national asset. And therefore, yes, the fruit of our labor may not be immediately seen. But remember, whether it is immediate or later, the instrument, the material is in our hands. We have a role to play. Whereas the mind of Dr. Radhakrishnan, the teacher, went beyond the classroom and his world maintained a diplomat, a president, a thinker. How is it that? Why is it that our teachers in our society, their services are utilized outside of the classroom? Their services are utilized only at the level of assigning election duties and counting census in the country. How is it that this happens? A question qualified to be posed, and an answer to be demanded. My dear teacher friends, if we are the salt of the earth, aren't we supposed to possess an element that, like that of a salt, to make the world thirsty? Thirsty for righteousness, thirsty for truth, thirsty for enlightenment. Some time ago, I forwarded an addendum to fit CCTV cameras in the classroom. Many teachers didn't relish that idea. But whether we like it or not, the COVID-19 pandemic situation has drawn each and every teacher to make their performances open, public, through online classes, as our Deputy Commissioner has rightly mentioned. Yes, my complete thankfulness and appreciation goes to these teachers who are doing excellently well in online classes. Your techniques in your teaching, your method of teaching, your approaches to teaching are highly commendable. A big shabash to these teachers. To the other teachers, I would like to say that we should not be scared of our performances, our contributions, our services and our product being viewed, being watched, being analyzed by others. Not only among the teachers, our colleagues, as our Deputy Commissioner said, but also by the parents and by the world and by all the stakeholders in the process of education. Dr. Radhakrishnan said, I quote, "When we think we know, we cease to learn," unquote. My dear friends, teacher friends, we ought to be learners throughout our career. Unless we learn, unless we have a whole range of knowledge, information, we will be left out. And that is a huge loss to the society, to our country. And we will cease to be the data bank. Talking about the process of education against the backdrop of the intertwined complexity of two things. One, COVID-19 pandemic. In the other, the fast development in the technology, digital media world. The complexities of this situation is likely to bring about some threats to our younger generations if proper care is not taken, if we neglect, if we don't harness these instruments in the right direction. This is likely to bring about addiction to the youngsters, addicted to the fast-moving, catchy visuals, and deviate from disciplining the mind, the intellect. Getting lazy physically is one thing, but mentally getting lazy is another, which is very dangerous. These complexities in the postmodern world today should be addressed properly, efficiently, and effectively and suitably. And in this, teachers have a big role to play. If it is left unaddressed, unchecked, our generation, youngsters, will be drawn in the deep waters of entertainment. They will be drawn in the deep waters of amusement. And this will also lead them away from the culture of befriending, loving books. I strongly believe that how much more the progress is made in the digital media world, in the technologies, the power of printed books can never be replaced sufficiently, efficiently by these technologies. It has its own effect, it has its own power. While talking about this, we are reminded of what Francis Bacon said. He said, I quote, "Some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. Though this third category of reading books. I want our teacher friends to draw the teaching students. Unless we read, we will not go forward. The progress is far away. With due apology to Robert Frost, I want to present a few altered lines, altered by me. And therefore, teachers, the challenges are lovely, dark and deep, but we have promises to keep, and roles to play before we sleep, and roles to play before we sleep. When Dr. Radhakrishnan, as the Vice President of India, was once given in charge of the upper house of the parliament, Rajya Sabha, many a time there were heated arguments, counter arguments, and the atmosphere in the house used to be heated up. In times like that, he used to calm the situation down by using two instruments. One, he used to quote lines from the Sanskrit classics. Secondly, he used to quote from Bible. The spirituality of a person is very important. We human beings are basically, fundamentally, and primarily spirit beings. Only secondarily are we physical beings. And therefore, teachers who render our services to the making of a human being, to look into the spiritual health of the child is also very important. Dr. Radhakrishnan, when he was a student, there are many stories about him as a teacher, as a student, as a diplomat, as a politician, as a thinker, philosopher. We have no time to recount all this in this program. But just to cite one, when he was a student, he hadn't much money to meet the expenses of quality education. Therefore, throughout his schooling days, he earned the education through his scholarships. That was the only resources he had. The resources was not from outside. It was from him only. Even when the time came for him to enter college, it was because one of his cousins gave him the books he had used, because his cousin had just graduated from the university in the subject of philosophy. So his cousin gave Radhakrishnan some philosophy books that made him decide to do philosophy in college. What I'm talking about is improvisation. The word improvisation has two major meanings. One is used in the field of arts and music. That's one. But pertaining to development and progress, if we say improvisation, improvise, it is not to do with improvement as many people think it is. Improvisation means, I'm not talking about the meaning of the word, I'm talking about the definition of the word. Improvisation means making use of the available resources to achieve some work as against the need for doing the job which is not available. If you do not have some materials or requirements or equipment which you should have in order to do something. Instead of resigning, if you can just look around and pick up things which are only available with you, then with that you accomplish work. That is improvisation. I'm talking about the need for improvisation here. Radhakrishnan had no money to meet the expenses of the education. What was his resources? Hard work, and through his achievement, he won scholarships. Next, his available resources was only some books given by his cousin. The first teacher in Nagaland, in a formal school, about 150 years ago, as we all know, was one Akok, about 150 years ago. When she was appointed teacher, in her classroom, there was no blackboard as she saw in Assam. She had a zeal to teach. She had a calling to teach. She was desirous of teaching. She wanted to make other people learn something as she had learned. She had no blackboard, nor had she a chalk pencil. She didn't resign. What did she do? She went home, brought her bed on which she used to sleep. She turned and put it in front of the children who were willing to learn, with the four legs of the bed facing the class. Picked up some pieces of charcoal, and the bed was not smooth. It was not bland. It was rough. Yet, she wrote there, they learned from them. Improvisation. Pandemic has obstructed you from entering the classroom. How many teachers were happy enjoying the time as a holiday, or how many teachers have cried into mind that students are not making the right learning from you? Thanks to the media world, the digital technology, electronic media, at least we go online. Many teachers are doing. But we don't know what kind of a situation tomorrow may bring to us. Even in a time like that, be it worse or better, we should be ready to struggle with the situation and carry out our duties with improvisation mindset. That is a great challenge to us. Like Dr. Radhakrishnan used to quote from Bible, I want to conclude my talk today with a quotation from the Bible. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1, from King James Version, I read, I beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. My dear teacher friends, let us be reminded of this fact that every child seated in your classroom is an image of God, carrying in him the divine calling to be someone. Only that he is seated there, she is seated there, without realizing, without identifying what his calling is, what her calling is. If we are in this profession of teaching as a response to the divine calling, it is our bounden duty to decode the latent intent of the divine in the person of the child, and to accordingly guide him and nurture him into becoming a cultivated citizen, thereby fulfilling the divine intention in his life or in her life. My dear fellow citizens, let us strengthen our commitment to give our best of support to these teachers. Let us do whatever we can for the welfare of these teachers, for the uplift of these teachers. They hold a responsible position. They have a role to play that will bring about a new future to our society. My dear teacher friends, that on this very day, the 5th of September 2021, that 139 crores of our countrymen are paying you respect, honor, homage is not a matter to be taken lightly. With your best wishes, with your prayers, with your support, I'm absolutely confident that the mind of the divine will definitely be there. My dear friends, go we shall, build we shall, and retreat we shall not. We'll achieve, we'll bring about a new future tomorrow. May God bless our teachers. Long live teachers. Thank you.